Hello, everyone. Welcome to Next Level Humanity podcast. I have a different guest today, Raj from Lincode, and he's in United States. Hi, Raj. Welcome.
Thank you, Nevşah. How are you doing today?
Great, thank you. I have had amazing conversations with some of our entrepreneurs, a couple of meetings. It's very exciting to hear new stories, growth and acceleration. Being in the startup world in tech world is very exciting. So where are you right now in Lincode? What are you creating? How is the company going? It's been 8 years since you've been with Lincode, and also maybe a little bit information about your background for our listeners.
Yeah, sure. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. My name is Rajesh, and people usually call me Raj. It's much easier. I'm based in Silicon Valley, and I started this company after 3 exits, a couple of them very successful in the San Francisco Bay Area. So this is my 4th venture. And prior to starting, companies, I actually was working in the data center space. And after 5-6 years of data center experience, I started doing startups, and my first one was way back in 2008. And I reached out to Bay Area somewhere in 2013 and did my second startup there, and that was
almost 2 decades ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Impressive.
Yeah, thank you. So 2014 was my first AI startup, I would say. So we built a operating system which was infused with AI layer to detect the DDoS attack, man-in-middle attack, and that got acquired in 2015. And after that, immediately I started another company which was also an AI startup, and sold that company in 2017. It was acquired by a Bay Area company in 2017. After that, a few of my manufacturing friends reached out to me asking, you guys have been in the AI space from quite some time. Can you help us with a few of our challenges? So we wanted to understand what is the manufacturing challenge and how do we solve it to AI. So we went around and did a research for almost a year from 2017 till 2018 to identify what are the core challenges manufacturers have. We did it in a stealth mode, and that's how Lincode was born.
Okay. And so from the very start, you've been in the startup world forever. You're an entrepreneur. I'm also a serial entrepreneur, but I didn't start in the startup journey. I started with the classic business journey. But anyway, I know that being an entrepreneur is something different than being just in the business world. Being an entrepreneur, I have a lot of listeners who are entrepreneurs. Being an entrepreneur, I think you must have a different set of qualities. And I usually remind that to our founders, like if you don't have those qualities, maybe it's not wise to go on an entrepreneur journey because it's tough. It needs a lot of dedication. It needs a lot of focus, a lot of concentration. So what would you suggest, especially to our listeners who are first-time entrepreneurs, who are first-time founders, who are trying to build something? And I believe the first 1 year, and I think the second or third year, so the first seed level is very hard, and then growth level is also very hard. I think I see that both stages that people are challenged a lot. And I'm going to ask you 2 questions. The first one is, what would you suggest to founders who are entrepreneurs, who are first-time entrepreneurs, who are right now starting to build their companies, who are in the first stage, seed stage, the first year? Like, what would you suggest to them, especially when focusing on which problem to solve, when focusing on the product, and like, what would you suggest them to focus on?
Absolutely, sure. So rather than suggesting them, I would give my experience, and they can take it as a one of the example of how they what they should not do and what they should do actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I said we started in 2018 after 1 year of research, extensive research, we identified the product market fit. We understood that there is a big challenge. not just customers complaining about technical requirements or solving a particular problem that they were facing. It was also about understanding whether everybody has that problem, or is it only with only specific set of people. So what we figured was it's a industry-wide challenge. So, market is really big. And we did the research.
So the first thing is just focusing on the problem and trying to understand who has those problems, and also making it clear if there is a market for that, for the solution of that problem.
Absolutely. So, we didn't want to listen only from one person. So we wanted to hear it from at least 300 to 400 manufacturers to average it out, saying, okay, this is going to be the way it's going to be. So we interviewed some 400 to 500 manufacturers, and we physically went to around 40 to 50 manufacturers in their factory floor. We saw what are the product they were using and what are the challenge they are facing. And with that, we understood that it is a, industry-wide challenge, and we could actually see what is the potential market value. When we discussed what are the challenges they face and what is the impact of the challenge. Like somebody were losing money, somebody increased the number of people in doing that. So, and somebody lost the productivity and so on. With this, we could arrive at what would be the likely market value for, having a startup like this. So that gave us a clear understanding. The next thing is when we started into the industry, when we went in the product development mode, we did one big mistake. So some of my investors did warn me at that point in time. They told me, hey, Rajesh, your company is focusing on multiple different industry. You should pick up only one industry and one certain problem, only solve that. Then you scale it to other manufacturing industries. But what I was thinking is, as an entrepreneur, it's just a manufacturing. So manufacturing is similar. Like, why should I worry about whether I'm going to automotive, aerospace, or electrical? I should go and target everybody. Then my customer base will be big. I can grow fast. That was my thinking, right? So that was actually a wrong move. So what we did was the mistake. I didn't listen to one of the wise investors who told me this. I thought, we can grow faster. So that backfired. So almost 7 to 8 months, we could not find any customers because we were spraying the gun everywhere, right? So
being niche, solving one specific problem for a specific audience for a start I think it's very important in all kinds of businesses. Like I help people become masters in branding. That's also very important in branding, like being known for something specific.
Right, exactly. So then we realized after almost a year, we realized that this is not working. I think we need to only solve for everyone, that customer and choose that as a problem and then go and solve for others. So we then started focusing only in the automotive industry and more so specifically in the powertrain or engine related manufacturers. We didn't want to go to anybody else because we found a niche in that and we understood that we can solve this problem much better than others. So, that worked. So my advice to the fellow entrepreneurs is find your product market fit before you start launching the product in a big way.
Before you start anything, find your product market. And I think the lesson here is like it took probably a couple of months, maybe a year to go and do that research, just speaking with, you said 400 companies. Yeah. That's a huge number, 400 manufacturers, and you even went to 40 of them, and did live-to-live meetings. And I think that's kind of like part of success, like part of your success, knowing your customers and knowing the problem. And I think understanding the problem. I sometimes give my students in the accelerator, we have some companies and they're kind of like students because they're also in our accelerator program. We give them exercises like write down 99 problems of your customers and dive deep and then find the problems behind those problems of those 99 problems. Like, I think that's really the most important thing, understanding the problem, understanding if there's a market for the solution, and also diving deep into the problem, like trying to understand what the problem really is and building a product around that. That's, great advice.
Yeah. And one of the important advice from a great guy, Steve Jobs, is that, if you are doing a business, you should not shy away from asking people. So if you don't ask, nobody is going to help you. So it's a very, very important advice that I sincerely follow even today is, if you need some answers, ask the people relevant to you. Like, for example, when we wanted to know what are the challenges, so we thought initially, okay, manufacturers may not be ready to share their challenges. They may not be willing to openly come and tell. So what we did is we went out to one customer. We asked them like, hey, we are planning to solve AI challenge, AI using AI. We are planning to solve the visual inspection challenge, and we can do this AI with much better way. And we did our initial research from Gartner and other people. So machine vision is what you're using, and you have a big challenge with that. We can overcome with that with the AI basically. So this is how we told them. And the moment we said that, they willingly said, yes, we are having various issues with this technology. We are looking for upgrading this, and we wanted somebody to give us a right direction on this. So that was like a big icing on the cake for us. And once we heard the story, we could then make it as a common questions, and we started sending out to some 300 to 400 manufacturers asking the similar thing. Like, hey, we are building this, and we know you have this challenge. We want to hear you, and we can see if we can help you with this. So that's how we started going. And this can be applicable to any industry. You can reach out to your customers, tell that you are building this particular solution. You can solve this for them. Do you want to hear them? Nothing to sell here, nothing to be bought here. Just a plain question and answers. That's it.
Yeah.
So
sometimes does it feel like that too? Sometimes it feels like finding the right problem, and also the market is kind of like a treasure hunt. You just guessing. There is that treasure over there underneath the ground, underneath the soil and in the ground. Doesn't make sense. You have to dig, and you have to dig deep and go digging deeper and deeper and deeper until you literally reach that treasure, which is the real problem people are facing, and they are hungry for your solution. And when you find that, that's the treasure. It's like, I think that hunger or that, need for that solution. And when you find that, and when you're able to solve that, it's just brilliant. Yeah.
Fantastic. I really love this analogy. I think I will take away with this analogy is that, it's like a treasure. You keep digging, and don't stop till you reach the biggest treasure there. Don't stop there. Like if you think that, okay, I reached 10 foot and I got some gold and that's it. It's not true. You may have to go deeper, and you will find more information from this. Yeah.
Yeah, deep. And then you had the second advice as well, the thought. And then there was the second idea for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and then focus. Like, just keep on working on one thing. Like initially work with one type of customer, or, few customers. Like choose either it's going to be a geography, or is it going to be a particular industry or a particular challenge that you are going to focus on. Just take that and completely, work on it and get some customer growth and get some happy customers from that. So what will happen with that is, you can definitely, when you're going to go and increase your revenue, at that point you would hit up on a big customer who might say that, okay, I want to see some credibility. I want to see, whom we have deployed this. So you need people who can come up and say, yes, this company I can trust. They've done a wonderful job. We have been working with them from quite some time. They are doing fantastic. You should sign up with them. So that kind of customer satisfaction is important. So you can achieve that only if you focus on these early adopters that I call, and work with them closely and make sure they are very happy before you go and grab your other 100 customers.
Do you suggest maybe also not charging the first couple of customers for maybe the first few months, so that like doing some demos? And
actually, what I feel is you should definitely charge because you need them also to have a skin in the game. So, but then you can subsidize the cost instead of charging them a huge cost. Give them 30% of it, because we are all startups. We need to be hustlers. We need revenue. We need to see the cash coming in. So definitely we should charge, but lesser.
So what have been in the last 8 years? What have been the biggest challenge you faced, and how did you overcome that? Like, what was the biggest challenge or biggest tipping point, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah. So for any startup, revenue is the biggest challenge, right? So if you're going down on revenue, and for us, COVID hit very hard as well. And when we are about to take off, COVID was there. Not many people are working, but we stuck to the roots very clear. So we knew that there's a good product. We didn't lose the confidence on the company, the product, even though there was no revenue. Absolutely no revenue in the whole of 2020, and that didn't bother us to stop thinking, okay, we are not going to make anything. So we understood it just a time, and we need to change our approach. We need to change the way we do things. And as you said, we started digging deeper. We were asking questions like, what would be a thing like, which customer can take a decision really quick? What would be a challenge which customer might be saying that, okay, I'm ready to pay this much of money if you can solve this. So we started digging those more, and we brought in a marketing research person in-house who could go and find customers in the specific region with a specific material production and specific type of technology they've been using. So we got those kind of customers, and then we approached them and we solved it.
So it's kind of like saying flexibility is better than strength. Because
Right.
it is being flexible and just, finding new solutions to already existing problems, but in a different, like finding new approaches around the existing problems. So really knowing your customer and then, basically finding new solutions to the existing in the existing circumstances, being flexible. And if people are not working, then you find other solutions. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's always And how about your co-founders? Like, how about your team? How did you decide on? I think that's also one of the challenges I hear more and more every day. Like finding the right co-founders. How do you decide, and how do you, because it's kind of like marriage. It's really important to find the right co-founders. And what happened, because you're an experienced entrepreneur, what has been your strategy on choosing your co-founders and deciding, okay, these are the people I want to be with and work with for the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I was very lucky with is my team, basically. So, most of my startups, what I have done is, more than valuing them only on their experience or the technical knowledge, their understanding about a startup, what are the challenges startup might come up with, and sticking to the startup culture and environment. Those are the people who can last thick and thin, right? So basically, I have seen in one of my startup where when we were lean patch, so people started leaving. So, it was a big concern for me because, of course, every entrepreneur will have a downside. A startup will go through a lean phase as well. So at that is a point where you understand the people more stronger, who are going to be with you, who are not going to be with you. It'll make you understand. So when I was going through that's when I realized that people who can stay with you on that phase are the people who are going to stay forever, basically. And co-founder is also same, because if you're going to have some rough patch, the co-founder should not lose patience and then say, hey, this is not working out, I'm going to go away, right? So that is important, that we need to communicate with the co-founder before even we bring them as a co-founder, that this is going to happen. Like, are we safe for next 3 years? Can you stick with the company for next 3 years? That's important to discuss first. Because it should not be surprise for both that if something goes wrong, then the other person leaves immediately. So that is the first commitment that needs to be checked. And the second thing is,
and also maybe talking about the things that might go wrong, and just deciding on where you both will be or all will be. And not right. Only talking about, because founders, entrepreneurs, especially the first-time founders, entrepreneurs, make the mistake of, being so high on the idea and talking about when everything gets this big and everything will be this beautiful and that beautiful. And I think they sometimes misunderstand the entrepreneurial journey, and they don't talk enough about, okay, so what do we do when things go wrong? And what can go wrong, and where we'll all be when that happens, instead of, only talking about when things go right.
Right, exactly. So that is important. And the
Yeah.
second thing is commitments. Like, for example, some founders will be okay to, not get paid for a long time or get paid very less, because as a founders, we are the only people who will be paid the least in the whole company. Right. So that is something which they should be able to sustain for a longer time. And that is an important thing to be very clear upfront. If a co-founder is saying, okay, I can withstand for like 6 months, 12 months, and after that I cannot. So then there needs to be a plan very clearly that, okay, if we can't withstand, what can we do together after that point in time? So those kind of clarity is very, very essential between the co-founders. That is
I think
important.
also, and that's also kind of like what I usually say, the quality of the founder, because each founder, each entrepreneur is also an investor, because being on just starting an entrepreneurial journey equals to starting your investment journey, because you won't get paid, or you will get paid just a little, your costs, and you're actually investing for your future. I think that's why most founders decide to become VCs, or they're already investors. It's like if you're a founder, you're already an investor. You're investing in your future. So having that mindset instead of looking for rewards that right away, just having that mindset, investment mindset, is a must for a founder, I guess, because it's an investment journey after all. If you're not thinking long term, if your business is not a long term investment for you, it will be very tough to be a founder. If you're looking for immediate returns or immediate rewards, you're going to be probably challenged a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you're not assured immediate returns, or you're not assured that the startup will perform in 2 years, 3 years. Sometimes it can take longer. So you need to have that faith and trust in the product that you're building and the company that you're building. And once you go through that phase, lean phase, then it's all great for you, because company is going to grow big, and money is going to come anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And any challenges you faced on the growth stage of the company, like recruitment?
Yes, growth stage, that's when you don't, get to know, like, okay, what kind of people to hire. Because what happens is, this is one thing I really faced, is I as an entrepreneur keep traveling. We have offices in different locations. So what happens is, your vision as a founder is specific. Like, you want to grow, and you can educate. Initially, when you're only about 8 to 10 people in the team, you meet them every day, you talk to them every day, you motivate them, you explain them what is the company's vision, what are we trying to do, what are the rewards for the efforts everybody's putting in. You educate them, you build the team, you're very well suited with them. But as you grow in numbers like 50, 60, 70, that's when the problem starts happening. The problem is, the vision of the founder doesn't get passed on to the multiple different lower down the order. So the people who are most important, which is people who are working on the coding or working on the various important operations or executions. So they don't have the actual message and the actual vision of the founder. So even if a small mistake from a guy who is deploying in a customer place, he doesn't get bothered. He doesn't get problem there. What will happen is, the whole company is blamed. The CEO is blamed, right? Even a small mistake, which apparently the CEO doesn't want that mistake to happen, but this guy who doesn't have the vision of the company properly, he goes and it makes a failure at the customer side. The customer immediately says, "Hey, what kind of a company is this? Stop relationship with them." Right? So this can burn out really fast. So it's very important that there needs to be a complete messaging across the organization, which is what we faced. So a lot of people didn't understand this, and some people faced a problem with the customer. Some people faced internally, like politics taking over within the company, or somebody is getting good appraisals, whereas the other persons are not getting good, thing. People who have really worked hard, they didn't get recognition, whereas people who didn't do better work, they
Yeah.
got recognition. So that actually bothered the people within the company. So those are the things we face, a big challenge, very big challenge.
Yes.
So we had to fix that by, I had to go and meet them every now and then, every month, have a town hall, talk to them, ask them questions. A lot of people were not opening up initially. It was very hard for me to make them open up and say, okay, what is your if you have some kind of a problem, come directly talk to me. If you feel that you've done something, you're not recognized, instead of going and telling others, openly, send me an email or send me a Slack saying, this is what the challenge I'm facing. Can you help me? I'll be there right there. So that's how we went around.
So what you're saying, what I'm hearing is the job of the co-founders or the founders, the entrepreneurs, the CEO and the board member of the company is holding the vision, but also connecting with the problems the company is facing, with the people who are working for the company. So it's like constantly telling them, I hear you, I see you. That's I hear is very important, because that's had happened in my business as well. A couple of years ago, I had 550 plus people in the company, and you just have no idea what's going on. And, a lot of things start going on once you're, I think, above 100. And then you have a lot of problems with that, and you need to. What we were doing is we were organizing meetings for the whole group and for different groups every month, and I was on stage speaking to them, and we had different meetups and meetup groups. So how are you, like, besides going to those cities and doing meetings, how are you overcoming that challenge of hearing? Because it's like, time-wise, it's almost impossible. What if they all sent you emails the same day? Or,
Right.
try to speak. So it's kind of like it gets harder and harder, and we need better systems and people. Like what I did was I had managers and I had people I am in connection with, and I made sure they were clear on the mission. They were clear about who we are as a company, who I was as the CEO, and then they were just speaking with those people. So it's kind of like people I'm connecting with who connect with other people. So what's the system you created? Because you can't literally hear and speak with all of them, right?
Yeah. So what we did is we did town hall sessions. So I go and sit and I have all the people around. And what we did is, like, we tried to make them talk in the town hall. Some people spoke, some people asked questions, but not everybody. Nobody were, opening up at all in the town hall. So we did a lot of town hall sessions, but even then that was not solving. So then we came up with the idea that, okay, you write down what is your question, or whatever good and bad about the company, write down and ask this question, right, in a piece of paper, and somebody will come and collect all the papers and put it into a bowl, and no name is written, nothing is written, and then I pick up the sheet from that bowl, and then I read what is the question, and then I answer it. So this kind of started working for us. So where we could relate to the employees, we could relate what are their questions, and then we could solve. So we could introduce some, skill improving programs. We could introduce some gym membership for some people. We could introduce some learning courses and things like that. All this came from those town hall sessions, actually. Yeah.
What I did, because my background is behavioral. Oops, sorry. Phone. Because my background is behavioral health sciences, what we did is, and what I suggest is maybe doing some kind of a human behavior or habitual tests, and understanding who in the team, just imagine 500 people, who in the team is more connected to company's vision, because you can just ask them basic questions and understand that, and maybe rewarding them and having them as ambassadors, like ambassadors of the company vision, or the ambassadors who truly, for me, it was my vision, because I was in that company, I'm a solo entrepreneur, solo founder. It was about my vision, who I am and who I am reflecting. And so for me, the best solution was finding ambassadors. Like I had around 25, 30 ambassadors whom I was really connected with, who truly understood my vision, who I was, what the company was solving, and where we are. And then those ambassadors were friends or became friends with the other people in the company, and they had their own groups, like kind of like the sisterhood groups, and they were responsible for their own group, basically initiating the group to company vision. And that's, for me, like that's what worked. It's kind of like this initiation happening around it, because not everybody will be close to me and will be close to the founder and become friends with the founder and understand the founder, but they can understand their friends and they can, create something amazing with their own groups, I guess.
Absolutely. So you need to figure out what works for you, what's
what
not.
Works for the company,
that's the challenge. Exactly. So all entrepreneurs have to find their sweet spot. Yeah.
Yeah, and these are fun challenges to solve. I see that you also love being in business, creating companies, because that's why you become a serial entrepreneur. Because it's kind of like being an athlete all your life. You get so used to the pain that you just can't not become an athlete. I see serial entrepreneurs. It's kind of like, I like that. We get so used to the challenges and the pains of being an entrepreneur. You just can't not be an entrepreneur anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I see that in you
absolutely.
as well. Yeah, it was lovely speaking to you, Raj. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For the spirit.
Yeah, thank you
for
for having
the
me.
Inspiration. Yeah. And thank you. Anything you want to add?
No, that's it. Yeah. And all the best for the fellow entrepreneurs.
Thank
if
you.
anybody wants to reach out, I'm at r@lincode.ai. That's my email. Yeah. So, please feel free to reach out.
Thanks to all of the people who are listening to our podcast, watching us on YouTube. If you like our videos, click on like and make sure you you subscribe to our YouTube channel and podcast. Thank you again. See you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Lovely. Let's just wait for a minute so that the whole system downloads. Sure. Yeah, it was lovely speaking to you, fellow entrepreneur.
Yeah. So what have you done, Nevşah? So what was your company about?
So NevCap is an accelerator, and this is sponsored by NevCap. We have a family office here in London, and we offer an accelerator. But we have our holding company is Lincode Labs. It's a venture studio. So we have a app studio. We have 5 apps growing right now. We have a hospitality brand, detox and wellness centers. We have a couple of beauty brands. I have 2 main co-founders and 2 small co-founders in my team. So we're like 5 people building different ventures, mainly on health, wellness, self-mastery. And my company, which I've been leading for over 25 years, is not a startup because I didn't build it to, sell it or anything. Nevşah Institute. So it's kind of like people call me Tony Robbins of the Turkish community. So I started by teaching self-mastery, meditation, and then I started growing companies, and it just grew and grew.
Wow, fantastic.